Good afternoon, everyone. I hope your conference going great. Hope the lunch is all right. Uh, we're very excited about this session because I think you must have to a nauseum in hearing the word Gen AI and AI by now, and we don't want you to get more bombarded with those words. We actually want to show you something in action so that you understand that this is real. This happens. You can actually leverage and also share some of the customer feedback and some of the benchmark results, which is very, very exciting. So my name is Manisha. I'm a President Chief Product Officer. Been working on this Gen AI with the team from since the day the Chat GPT came out. And right away with the OpenAI doing all this advancement, understanding that Microsoft has the relationship with OpenAI, I placed a call to a gentleman here. And since then, we exchanged ideas as Microsoft also was figuring it out that how to make the Gen AI actionable into their products. And this is where the partnership really took place, where both our product teams collaborated, ideated, and really evolved in terms of the possibilities of how the Gen AI can be actionable at the specific user interaction points. Of course, we came across several challenges. We knew it, but I would say, and Sandeep will talk about it, but more so Microsoft team got quite a bit humbled in understanding the insurance complexity and what works for other industries. It's not necessarily just given that how it works. So we quite a bit work together and get to a point where we are. There's a lot of potential in terms of bringing the Gen AI capabilities further to the complex use cases, and we're continuing our partnership with that. But what you're going to hear today is our entire very holistic vision about not just Gen AI, but also the data behind it, and how we are actually bringing what we call it an intelligent core to bring an intelligence into the point of sale and services solutions that the Majesco has. But before that, let me just share this mic with Sandeep. He can give a little bit of a color in terms of how our Microsoft partnership has evolved.
Very excited to be here because things that we have talked about, things that we have debated, things that we have tried to figure out how to bring it to that vision to fruition. I'll get to see it. So I'm super excited about that. Let me share a few things. We are fundamentally a platform company, right? And our success is dependent on our customers and our customers making use of the platform and doing it to drive outcomes that they're trying to drive. So one of the things that we have invested in is trying to understand, right, the nuances of insurance, of financial services. But let me be very blunt. We will never, ever be as good as the people who really do it, right, who do it for a living. So this partnership is not just a one-way street. It's actually something that we benefit quite a bit from, because what that means is that our product teams then get input into things that they should be putting and prioritizing into their roadmap, which they would normally not be able to. I mean, they would eventually come to it, but it'll take time, right? Now, if I were to look at why this has worked and why we are where we are, I will give a lot of credit to the Majesco team. Under Manisha's leadership, they were very, very clear, right? I mean, they came in with a vision that was well-formed. We had to tweak it a bit. The technology and platform decisions had to be changed, but the vision was very clear. And that honestly helped us a lot, right, in terms of overcoming some of the challenges and barriers that we were facing with. So kudos to the team for having a very clear vision. Kudos to the team for also being able to take feedback and change, right? Because there were constraints on the platform side that we're still working through. And so some of the things that, there were workarounds that have been done, which down the line it will not do. But one thing I told Manish at the beginning is that I personally have never seen the change the way it's happening now, right? The pace of change is just out of it's something that is I get to see it at close quarters, but I've never ever seen it. What that means is that we need to be nimble and we need to be flexible. And so decisions at the beginning, I remember, we were using RAG to address some of the shortcomings of LLMs. And that was going down a certain route, but there was something else that came up that helped. And the Majesco team, to their credit, has been extremely agile and nimble. Right? They did not stick to a roadmap that they had laid out and what they were building, but they were able to pivot. And I think that is something that increasingly is going to become important in this new world that we're moving to. where where potentials are limitless, but you only can realize the potential and the vision if you rise up to it. So thank you for the partnership, and looking forward to continuing to work with you.
Yeah, appreciate Sandeep. And I think the way we're going to run this session is Avi, who's our product manager for data and analytics, he has some interesting things to share with you in terms of what our customers and our early users are telling us and what they have experienced so far in terms of whatever the use cases that we have rolled out. And I think it's interesting to hear. It's still very early innings for GenAI by itself, but we're very serious about getting those feedbacks and understanding that where it is making an impact, where it can bring an ROI and all. And right after Avi, we have both Badri, who's our general manager and senior vice president for P&C solutions, and Arun, who's also a senior vice president and general manager for our L&AH solutions. They just want to show you. They want to show you all the use cases, some exciting use cases that we have delivered. Everything that you're going to see is in production. So this is not a demo where this is not a video or anything like that. So we hope this will be a very interesting and interactive and also very educational session for you. And that's how we are trying to keep it. So with that, we want to get out of the way and give it to the right guys. Welcome, Avi.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone is excited to get to the demos and see the solution actually in action. And we'll get to that very soon. But before that, I want to share with you some of the things that we're already seeing on the business side from talking to the early users of the solution that we put together. As Manish has mentioned, we started working on this as soon as ChatGPT became a thing and everyone became excited about GenAI, maybe even a little bit before that. And we had a very strong vision, hopefully the right vision. It's always interesting and exciting to go and see what happens when that vision starts to meet reality. So I'll say it again, it is early. This is from our early users of our very first releases, but we can already start talking about not just what we hope and dream this technology is going to do for the marketplace, but what it's actually doing for the businesses that are starting to use it today. So what we knew from our research just into strategic priorities right from the start is that operational efficiency is key, right? Everybody's under pressure. Everybody wants to be more efficient, save time, save money, improve the bottom line. It also became very important to the marketplace, to the users, to start leveraging generative AI. It's clear to everyone that if you're not using it, you're going to be left behind. What we see from the users that received our technology and started using it in their day-to-day lives is that these promises are starting to come true. We have people using Majesco Copilot, our generative AI solution, on a daily basis. Significant proportion of the people that it was made available to, 84%, expect to continue to use it daily. We are seeing actual real-time savings, and we'll go into more detail later into exactly where these time savings are realized and how much, but dramatic time savings. So more efficiency, less cost to do the same thing with higher qualities. And the leaders are also saying that it is helping the teams do what they're trying to do. We are seeing these across the board. We will have here later both P&C and L&AH demonstrations, and we're seeing that people working on billing, on policies, on claims, all of them are experiencing these dramatic savings in time and the increases in quality. Now let's look at what we actually built here. And we put several important components together. We have our GenAI solution, which is, AI is the new UI. It is a simpler, less complex way to interact with the applications that people are already using every day. So we shouldn't think about something that comes in from left field. Rather, people are continue to work towards the same business objectives, interacting with the same familiar system, but they now have a much better, much easier way to interact with it. It is, of course, very important to people who are new to the system. So if you're thinking about your talent growth, if you're thinking about bringing new people on board and how long that takes, you can definitely expect improvements there. But it's also very helpful to your seasoned employees who are already working with this system as well. In the middle, we have new closed loop data analytics. We are taking advantage of new technologies also from our partner Microsoft to bring the information that people need to them where they need it much, much faster than we used to. This is not a dramatic change like GenAI that broke into the scene, but it is a significant change, and it is a continuation of something that we have been working for forever to bring more data, more consumable data to people where they need it. The more accessible the data is to the people that need to do the work and make the decisions, the better it is. And last, on the very back end, that's our third element, we're also improving access to data to the entire organization. We have been talking about big data for many, many years, and as the technology improves, we can bring all of your data to you faster than before, more accessible than before, with less limitations. Diving into what we are seeing with Majesco Copilot. So 75%, and this is real data from real users that are using the solution. 75% of the users are reporting significant savings on their mundane tasks. And this is very intuitive. This is where AI excels. Take the mundane things, the things that people do routinely, and it's repetitive, and it's a waste of time, and a robot can do it, and here finally is a robot that can do it. And this number, 75%, is exactly what we hoped to see. We have, on average, 2.5 hours saved in a workday. You can figure out the percentage here for people that are using the AI compared to people that are not. Talking a little bit about what exactly we're doing with AI to bring all this magic to work for your people. So of course, the first element is GenAI. We have a AI robot that the users can interact with to achieve all the things that they need to achieve, to perform tasks, to learn how to do tasks, to shovel over the reading of long documents, the parsing of invoices, bills, policies, applications, whatever comes across their desk. And now the human user doesn't need to waste their time to do it simply because the machine is much better at it and faster at it. And of course, there's always the option for the user to look at what the machine is doing to make sure that we're not introducing AI mistakes here. The other element to it, which is not GenAI, but still very important machine learning AI that you have there in the middle, is specific models of machine learning that help perform very, very specific tasks. And in those verticals, there are also significant gains to be made. For example, and this is not our newest innovation, but it's been out there for a couple of years, subrogation. We can train people on subrogation and make sure that they understand how to do it. But we have a subrogation intelligence robot that looks over people's shoulders and will find those subrogation opportunities for our customers that use it, millions of dollars saved. And it's automatic. It's always there running in the background. We're introducing now in our latest release, litigation prediction. So you can, again, train your reps as much as you want to try to be tuned to where a claim is going and try to raise the flag before legal gets involved, because we all know how expensive that gets. But we have a robot that was trained specifically for that purpose that can tell you ahead of time, and it finds with 10% of the effort, 80% of those cases that are going to go to litigation. So not GenAI, but machine learning, also adding value right where you need it. And then we have our customer and our partner models. We know that we are not the smartest in the world. We are constantly working with the marketplace, with companies that are building purpose AI models, and we have an open marketplace where all of these very smart AI solutions that are being developed right now can come in and become part of the Majesco ecosystem. Now, of course, one of the biggest fears with AI, especially with the consumer-grade AI that's first in the news that we all hear about, is it secure? Is it compliant? What's going to happen with my data? Where is it going to walk to? And what kind of trouble am I going to get into by allowing this new technology? And here, again, our partnership with Microsoft makes a big difference. Everything that we're doing is secure and private within the Microsoft Azure cloud. So all of those concerns that we hear about, if I go to a consumer-grade solution and I allow my employees to just start putting information there, who knows what happens to that information, where it goes? That is correct. This is not consumer-grade AI. This is enterprise-grade AI built by Majesco specifically for insurance with privacy and compliance in mind. So everything remains secure in a private cloud, and you have zero worries about where it's going or what's done with it. Everything is very, very clearly nailed down in our terms of service. Back to the users that are using our system, we're seeing two types of gains here. At the top, we have operational efficiency gains, time saved for all the roles in the organization, time saved for different tasks, and as you can see, 84%, 90% better on just wasted time that now can be automated. But then at the bottom, we have not less important quality gains. It's great to do everything faster. It's great to save money. Improving quality will translate into better numbers, will translate into a better bottom line down the line. Making less mistakes, doing a better job for the insured, for the customer, that eventually trickles into a better bottom line for everyone. And what can we do? Machines make less mistakes than humans. Also, providing a higher quality work environment for your workforce, that translates into talent acquisition. Just like nobody would want to come into an office today and see a 14-inch screen that they have to work with, because that technology has evolved a long time ago. People expect to have a certain level of technology supporting them. GenAI will very soon become something that people expect. It's the quality of the work environment, it's the quality of the work that people can focus on when AI takes over the mundane tasks that everyone is less interested in doing. So as you can see from these numbers, we have dramatic improvements directly in efficiency, but also in quality that will lead to better outcomes very soon down the line. So this is our entire GenAI and AI, and of course, we will have a demo here in a minute to show you exactly how that works. The second part of our strategy that we talked about is the closed-loop business insights. We can now run business analytics much faster, much more efficiently, much more closely to the time that changes take place than we could just 5 years ago. We're no longer talking about data warehouses that update daily. We're talking about real business information in near real time that can be analyzed on the spot and come back directly, not into a PDF that you get emailed to you at the end of the day, but into a dashboard that's in front of the people doing the work right now, showing changes as of a few minutes ago. We have 100% of our test users and of our early users who were able to take advantage of it, which is not surprising. We just put it in very graphical, user-friendly dashboards right there in front of them. And we have a very large proportion, 72% of users reporting that they are now getting new insights. Again, it's not a huge surprise. When we bring fresh, carefully presented information to the users and put it right in front of them, they can now see trends as they happen. They can gain new insights into their own work that was maybe lost on them before. So as you can see here, very impressive results from that, and you have also a little bit of a preview of what we did. We're no longer talking about dry, 1990s style reports with columns of data and you figure it out. We visualize everything with fresh information, and it's right there in front of you where you need it. And of course, we're not neglecting the people who do the work in the back end. So operational efficiency and productivity improvements from this, people can make decisions faster, people can bring forward insights much more efficiently than they did before, and better quality, right? Insights that might have been lost before, information that was just never used, is now right there in the forefront. The last element is access to your information. And we talk a lot about democratizing AI and democratizing your information. We are a cloud-first provider. Our customers bring their business to us and put it in the Majesco cloud. And we appreciate that trust. But what we've been hearing more and more, and what's clear to everyone, is that at the end of the day, we are just the custodian of this information in our cloud. It belongs to you. It's your information. So the third pillar in our strategy is giving you full access to all of your business information in near real time, ready to do whatever your more advanced data teams need to do with it. So we give our users access to our own Majesco data lake, where they can get access to that information. And we even allow, it's your information. If you need to downstream into a different system, if you have data science teams that need to analyze it, it's all available to you. And this is getting a lot of recognition, as you can see here, from leadership. Customers want access to their own information. Just because we're in the cloud, it doesn't mean that we get to withhold it from you, and we don't. And I would encourage everyone to ask it from your cloud providers. Ask for access to your information. It's yours. You make it. You need to have access to it. We'll look at two quick case studies before we go to what everything have been looking forward to, which is seeing the actual demos. We followed claim adjusters through a day in the life. And we found, by carefully timing every operation, that it takes about 9 hours of work to resolve a claim without the additional power of AI behind it. We throw Copilot into the equation that helps people get to what they need to do faster and helps do some of the mundane tasks for them. And we can shave off 80 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes off of that workday. Already on its own a significant saving. But then with intelligent bills and invoices, which is an element where you can take a bill or an invoice that came in, and instead of starting copying from side to side, just take all of that information and populate it directly into the system. That is a huge chunk of manual labor that really in 2024 people should not be doing manually anymore. With that, we got another 2.5 hours saved. So overall, we have a 44% efficiency enhancement just in time savings for your typical claims adjuster. On the other side, for policy administrators, that work tends to be more scattered, right? You don't work for 9 hours on a single policy. It's not as intense as a claim. But we also found that throughout the day, working on various tasks with versus without Majesco Copilot, 63 minutes, a whole hour in a day can be given back to people instead of trying to find what they need and fumble their way around. Let your AI Copilot find it for you, and you will save just over an hour. With intelligent quote, because creating quotes is, as you know, a very, very significant task, we were able to reduce the average time to create a quote from 10 minutes down to 3 minutes. So 70% time saving on that. And considering how many quotes these people process during the day, we have a total of almost 2 hours saved out of a workday. So you can do the math and decide what you want to do with the extra 2 hours. Focus on more quality tasks, do the same with less. Whatever you do, it'll have a very dramatic impact on the bottom line. And that's, at the end of the day, what we're here for, to help all of you make your bottom lines better. And now that's enough me talking about how great what we do is, and we want to show it to you. So we have Badri and Arun who are going to come up and take care of our demo.
Wonderful. Let it load. This is a real live demo. Good afternoon, folks. Badri Mallikarjunan. I lead the products here at Majesco for P&C and Digital. Wonderful to see so many people here right after lunch. I know it's a tough session to keep you guys up and active. We will do our best. We're going to swap between me and Arun. Arun runs the L&A products here at Majesco. The way we plan to do this is, obviously, we have seen through the deck. We saw some presentations from this morning from Manish that we went through. We wanted to show you the real use cases behind it. What it means, these are live systems, and we're going to actually go through a live system and actually show you how it works. And the way we're going to do is we're going to do it slowly. We're going to crank up one step at a time, make sure the engine also works with us in that same speed. The approach that we're going to follow is we're going to go through an entire life cycle. We're going to take a scenario where customer service is getting a call from a customer, and we will walk through that scenario, and our customer service person can respond to that request with the help of Copilot, how they can get to it faster. Then we're going to look at a use case where an agent is looking for a specific information on a different kind of a policy, and we'll look at it and how an agent can find that information. Third, we're going to look at how intelligent code can happen. How do you process a new code when a document is available? How quickly can it happen? So we look at it. So we look at those 3 scenarios. And then we will do a requote, which Arun will do. Then we're going to look at billing. And then we're going to see if a customer service representative is trying to find out the cancellation date or an equity date or process a refund or do a cancellation. How will they do that? Then we will go into processing claims, which is about how can you process a bill that is coming in, how can you do an hospitalization claim if you have to process, and then finally, but not the least, we will also do product setup. So that means you need to set up a new product. How can Copilot help you with that process, and what will be the method that we will follow? Make sense? Okay. To start off, what you're seeing here is our home page or a super admin login page. They can see all the Power BI reports that we spoke about. That's all available right here. And on the top right, there is a Copilot button. You click on it, and that's basically where we start and we do the activities. So I'm going to start with a very simple use case. The use case that I spoke to you guys about is a customer is calling, and the customer wants to know if their new vehicle that they have added, has it been added to the policy, and when was it done? So they went to an agent office. They've given the request that I have bought a new vehicle. Has it been added to the policy? Okay. So what we're going to do is, the customer service person is asking for the name. And the name here is, I'm just making one up. I'm going to search for it. Show me the policy for Anthony Bentley. What's going to do is the system is going to go search. It's going to look for all Anthonys and Bentleys in the system, and it should throw back a result. And the way we have configured it is, it's going to come up with an X number of results first time, so that you're not necessarily looking at 100,000 Anthonys in the system. It automatically does a search, and then now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to look at this. So the system is now pointing me to say, what do you want to do next? So the question that I'm going to ask is, that the customer is asking, the customer service rep is, can you make sure the new vehicle that I bought has been added to the policy? So I'm going to look for it. I'm going to simply say, show me the list of vehicles on this policy. And when I search for it, what the system is going to do is, the system is intelligent enough to know if there is one revision or multiple revisions of the same policy that is available. So the first thing that it did is, it is basically saying, you want to look at it as of the base policy, or you want to look at it as of a revision. So if there are multiple endorsements, you want to go back and look, the system knows intelligently to find that. Now, it automatically gave a clue to a CSR, or there seems to be an endorsement that has happened. So maybe the vehicle is already in there, but they can look at it. I'm going to say, I want to look at the latest revision of the policy, and it will list me all the vehicles that are there in that policy that is available. Very simple way. Now, another way that they could have found out is, they could go into the search for a policy, find that customer, look at all the vehicles in it, look at the effective date, and then see whether the vehicle has been added. In this case, they can quickly find out when this vehicle has been added. Yes, I see 3 vehicles in the policy. The 3rd vehicle is the new one that you bought. It's available right now. It's already added. Don't worry about it. The case is over. Make sense? So that's scenario number 1 that we wanted to show. As I go through scenario number 2, I also want to show you a few things right here. We have also created some actions that a user wants to do. I think given you asked this, I'll just explain. All this is using the database that is within Intelligent Core. It is searching within our own Intelligent Core database and looking for this information. There are scenarios where we also use an ecosystem of partners to find the data. Intelligent Core is one example of that, and I will show you when we get there. Okay? This is an action. The idea of these action is, if you want to quickly look at specific actions that they want to do, rather than typing saying summarize a policy or cancel a policy or reinstate a policy, we have also predefined actions, so it becomes easier for a user to go do it rather than even type that out. So that's the idea here. And you will see these actions growing as we look at billing, as we look at claims, and so on and so forth. Okay? A second scenario that I wanted to cover is an agent wanting to look at a policy of their customer. A simple example that I'm going to use is, it's a commercial policy. So I'm going to come up and show the policy for urban builders. What this is, urban builders is a commercial policy. Let's assume it's a general liability or a BOP. And we are trying to find out if that policy is even here. Right, so look at it. If I can type it. And what I'm trying to do in this scenario is, there are multiple urban builders. I'm going to pick one. What I'm trying to search in this scenario is, what does the agent wants to do? The agent wants to see all the forms that have been listed on this policy. Classic situation, right? I want to know if I have a specific coverage. What are those coverages that I have? Do I have all the forms? Because I might want to add a new form, or I'm trying to do a new work. I want to make sure I'm covered for this in a general liability scenario. So I can search for this, but there is a little bit of intelligence built in GenAI that we want to show you in Copilot. What it is it will not only list you the forms in the first go, but it can also search intelligently inside the forms. So what it is, all the forms have been fed in. Now it will give me the list of forms, but what I'm going to try and show you is, what are the inclusions and exclusions on that form that is available. So once it lists out, I'm going to take some random form. You see that these are the various forms that are associated with this policy. You get a quick view, but let's say the agent is interested to see what are the inclusions and exclusions on this specific form. Employee benefits liability coverage. So the question can be, what are the inclusions and exclusions on, and what should ideally do? It will go look into the specific form, and it will actually show me what are the inclusions of this form and what are the exclusions on this form as well. Okay, so the power of this is, if you folks are familiar with a commercial policy or a specialty policy, there are hundreds of forms in a policy package, and an agent is looking to see whether there is a specific coverage. And if they want to go in and look at the specific detail, they don't have to go comb through all the forms, all the revisions, and find it. They can ask GenAI, and the GenAI will answer that question for them. So it gives you speed, and it gives you increased in productivity, because they can quickly get that information in a matter of seconds, just like how I exactly did it. And here, they can go read through it. It's telling me their aggregate limits, what is the premium that is there, what are the exclusions, what they are not covered for. So they can get a quick summary. They can take a copy of it, send it to them, and it can instantly be done. Make sense? Now, I'm going to go into scenario number 3. Scenario number 3 that I want to cover is a new quote. What we want to do is, a new quote scenario is a personal auto where a customer is calling or an agent is calling, and the agent is saying, I want a quote for this specific customer. I want to see even if they are interested in doing this further. So you can actually upload any document. In this case, I'm going to upload a document. And what the system does is, it will comb through the document. It will process the entire document, and then it will analyze it, and then it will extract the information, and it will summarize for you first before it does the rest of the function. So it is basically going to comb the document, analyze it, and then it's going to tell us something. So let's see what it does. What it's going to say first is, the document has been extracted. I see that it is a declaration page. Good, it found that out. Second, it is also saying, based on the declaration page, I see this name and this address. Do you want me to process this further? Asking you to confirm. Yes, if I confirm, what it's going to do is, okay, let me find a quote for this. Let me get the vehicle information from various sources. It could be a LexisNexis pre-data fill that will go and comb the information from or extract the information. It's going to generate a quote. It's going to rate the quote, and it's going to show me the premium right here. So let it process through, and then it's telling us that it'll inform us when it's ready. So we'll wait and watch if it's able to do it. Now it's doing multiple things, right? It's doing the pre-fill. It is listing the quote data. It is rating. It is making sure all the limits are available, and then it is basically giving me a quick summary of what it did. Quote number. So it's already there in our system. I'm going to click on this. It'll actually show me the data as well. It is showing me the address. It's telling me what the premium of it is right now. Also, what it also did is, it also immediately sent an email based on the information that is available to the insured or to the agent or to any party. So the email also just came in, 106. It just happened right now. And then you're actually able to see the email that went out. Obviously, you can templatize them and make it work. But this is an out-of-the-box view to say how an email can be generated as the code is built. From there, now if I go back to the Copilot and look at it, this is the exact code that was created in the system. So it has created a code. It is saying it will be effective tomorrow for the next 1 year. What are the various status of that code? What is the code number that it created? What is the vehicle in it? What was the surcharge? Any discounts? And what is the total premium? And you're able to do it. And not only here, you can actually go and edit this information if you want, make changes, make additions. If they want to make changes, they would be able to do it from here. Make sense? I'm going to stop here and then pass it over to Arun so that he can do the revised code, and then we'll come back.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, we saw like Badri doing like some cool stuff with the initial quotes. What we'll do is like a little bit different now. We switch from the P&C segment to the world of benefits. We make it a little bit more complex with the quotes themselves. And we're going to try doing a requote of a group benefits quote. So it's not necessarily an auto quote. So it's a little bit less sexy and more complex, but we'll try to go through what Copilot can do here with stitching together multiple transactions and turning around what essentially takes days, if not weeks, for most carriers to turn around in a matter of minutes. So we're going to, again, just pull up Copilot here. I'll just accept that. And we'll start with what in the group world is called as an RFP, or a request for proposal or quote. So I'm just going to look for an existing one. And it's going to just ask me for the number. I'm just going to put that. So we'll let it get the data of what has been quoted so far. So it's going to fetch me that data. There are two products that have been quoted for this group. One, which is a group dental PPO product, for which the premium is about $2,300 for that group, based on whatever census data, et cetera, that they shared. And the other, a group term life product, which is for 50,000 coverage amount without riders, and that total comes to about 1622. So we're going to take this and we're going to requote with 75K as the coverage, and we'll try to reduce the broker's rate. Usually the expense factors are reduced in these situations. So I just did the submit. It gives me a little bit more info about this, and I'm going to say I want to requote it. What it does at this point is it's going to fetch the information about the quotes itself and ask me which quote do I want to redo. Is it the dental quote, or is it the... So once that comes in, I'm going to pick the GTL product or the term life product here. I'm going to say submit. It's going to give me the details of that, and then I'm going to say requote that. So with the descriptions all populated. And when I say requote, what it's going to first do is, okay, do you have any questions about the existing plan that has been proposed to the employer? Like apart from the coverage amount, are there any other questions that are there? So I want to know about what the existing coverage amount is, because what I see over here is just the description of the quote. So I actually want to see what that coverage amount is. I want to see what the broker's percentage is. How much is the broker percentage? And who's paying for this coverage? Is it the employer that's paying? Is it the employee that's paying? Or is it shared, etc.? So yeah, I want to do that. I'm going to ask that question. So it now goes in, checks against the group, whatever are the plans and any exceptions that were made for that particular group as part of the offering that the carrier actually made, and gets the information back and says like what the coverage amount is, the min maxes, and a lot of other details. So we could ask at this stage whatever questions we want about the plan that has been offered, and it can get all that information. Don't have any more questions on that, so I'm going to go in and make the change. So what change I want to make is really increase. So at this stage, what it does is it updates these values. It's basically looking through the plan and converting this text into, it's just asking me for a confirmation that has it interpreted it correctly? Yes, let's go ahead. It's going to go through the entire plan, look at what I have given as a text, confirm. And if any of you have seen like a group plan, these have like hundreds and thousands of attributes. It's identifying what attribute to basically pick, updates the values based on what I have given. It's asking for a description, so I'm just going to give it like term life of 75K. It's going to make a copy of that plan, and it'll start to initiate a quote. And I can give whatever description I want to give for the quote, based on which it will then go forward. So this takes a few, I think about 20 seconds or so to actually copy that entire plan and start to make the changes. And then the next step that we would do is basically initiate the quote. Now, typically in a group world, an insurance carrier, an underwriter basically receives these requests. They go in, open up the plan, look for all those attributes out of the many plans, go through them attribute by attribute, make the changes, save it, and then they have to go in and again start the quoting process for that and generate a proposal. So here I'm going to just click on generate quote. And while it's doing, all these things are stitched together behind the scenes. A proposal is generated and it goes all the way through to the broker. And that's done in a few minutes. So this takes about 30 to 60 seconds while it kind of actually generates the whole pricing. It runs through the pricing algorithm. It's picking up whatever is the census or population data that applies to a group, merges that and generates the quote by class of employees and a ton of other things, and generates the rate piece, which will kind of pick up. And I should have put the description over here, which I'll do here. And it'll keep telling us as it's doing that, it's working on the quote and it's going to start to process that. And then once it's done, it's going to generate that. So our idea as we kind of went through this process was like, what kind of use cases should we pick for this kind of a demo? And one of the easiest things was, let's pick like the items where we type in a few things, gives the results, we keep moving on. But I think the fun part of what we will go through as we kind of wait for this quote to get generated is, we picked use cases where we're stitching together a number of different things, where it's getting data from the underlying plans that have been configured in the configuration engine in Product Studio. It's getting transactional data, which an underwriter leverages. It is looking at documents that may have been attached with that particular case. It is running through algorithms and triggering multiple transactions to eventually get to a rate chart, which we can see and confirm on that and make sure that that process is done without us going through any of the application screens. The goal here is not that I am the user of Copilot, but somebody who knows what they're doing with Copilot can actually accelerate that entire process and fast track how quickly they can deliver results to their customers. And that's really the objective of what we're doing over here. So the quotes generated over here, I can see that it's 1842. Can do a review quote. Again, the interaction between the application and Copilot is critical to how we've kind of thought about it. For us, Copilot is a hub of AI, not just working with our AI models, not just working with what comes from OpenAI, but tapping into what carriers may have built as AI models, tapping into partner ecosystems and AI models from there, and bringing the whole thing together, merging it into the business process, and basically kind of seeing the results of that. So if I kind of just minimize this for a second, if I go here, that's my quote, and I can just open that and see that the whole rate chart, and unfortunately, that's how the group rate chart looks like for each age band, for classes, and so on. You can see what the premiums are for each of the age bands, for volumes, and so on. So that's basically the process which, across the space takes days, if not weeks, in terms of generating. And here we can just do it in minutes from an underwriter perspective and share that with brokers.
And also another point in this, which is very important, is you don't have to go through much training to do it, because it is helping you and guiding you in the process. Otherwise, a user would have gone on days and days of training before they would be able to re-quote.
Exactly.
Or even create a new quote, where now we have automated the entire process. You put in a new user, they can either quote or re-quote, or look for an information in the shortest possible time.
A big part of
what we are trying to do.
Yeah, a big part of what we're also trying to do here is this Copilot, you can actually pop it out and have it on your second monitor. So most people that are you're actually using the application, you're using Copilot, and that transaction and that whole process is significantly accelerated, if not eliminated in many cases, by stitching together transactions. Switch over to the next use case here.
Perfect. The next use case, thank you, Arun. The next use case is about customer service. If you look at a P&C scenario, majority of the questions comes once the policy gets issued, right? So they have questions around, when is my bill due? Is my policy active? What is the payment plan that I'm in? Can I change my payment method? When is my bill due? There are tons and tons of questions that comes every day. Or did you email my invoice? Can I get a copy of an invoice? And so on. Now, all those typical functions that we have seen our customers go back and click and do as a search, as an inquiry, we have automated them as an action within our Copilot action buttons. So in this case, I'm going to use a customer service example of a billing CSR who's on the phone day in, day out, trying to answer the various questions that are being asked by the insured or by the agent. And in this case, if you look at it, we have thought through different things: update a payment plan, change a due date, put a policy under notice, place a policy on hold, and so on and so forth, or write off a policy or refund a policy, and they would be able to do it. Or it could be as simple as create a task. Create a task for me to follow up with this agent in 10 days. You don't have to go into a screen to do it. You don't have to know which UI, where to click, how to create a task. You can just tell Copilot and it will do it for you. I think that's kind of the way we are thinking. All this is being done to help the end user do their work faster and be more efficient, so you can get a lot more things done in the time that we have, rather than having to have more people to do the job. So that's the idea of how we have thought through. In this example, I'm going to take a very simple example. I'm going to summarize a policy again. And if I have to summarize a policy, it's going to ask me, what policy do you want to summarize? And in this case, I'm going to do something different. I'm not entering the full policy number, just giving the last 4 digits. And the system is intelligent enough to still find out that policy, which matches the last 4 digits, and bring up that policy for you to look at. So that's kind of what is happening here. It should come back with the result and actually give me the full policy. The question here, let's assume in this use case, the customer is calling to say, when is my policy going to get canceled? Or what is the equity rate on this policy? Those are basic questions that get asked. I can actually see a quick summary of this. It tells me this specific policy is owned by Bethany. Yes, I can confirm. Bethany is the policy owner. What is the expiry date on this policy? When is it effective? What are the payment plans that it is on? When is the equity date? What are the invoices that have been sent? What is the future installments that's coming up? So all the information that a CSR needs on their fingertips to answer 80% of their questions are available right here. Now, as Arun explained, I want to make this bigger. I want to pop it out. I want to look at like this. I want to zoom in, zoom out, use it. All those features are available. The system will automatically readjust to do that job. Now, a couple of things that we want to do. We can also ask questions one by one, or Copilot is intelligent enough to know that you can ask multiple questions together, and the system will still find the answer. For simple example, like, what is the cancellation date? It should give me an answer. It's obviously available, but let's see if it can combine 2-3 questions together, and it can give me an answer. It should give me an answer saying this is a cancellation date and this is the equity date. For people who understand billing, they will know that they're out on equity and this is what is going on, but those informations can be instantly be available for fingerprint. Otherwise, you have those big calendars, the circular rotations that people are familiar with, to look at what is the cancellation date, when is the equity date, and how things happen. Just to give you an idea. Similarly, there might be some things that we may not do as an action or instantly out of Copilot, but we want to be able to guide the user. Very good example is, again, you bring in a new user, you bring in a person to help from college and say, okay, can you help me do certain things? The classic situation is, how do I do that? How do I process a refund? How do I make a payment? Then I call my buddy and ask, how do I do it? What is the steps? Tell me F7, F4, F12. This is your cheat sheet. Go figure it out. Copilot can help that user how to process a refund. It's basically telling them, go here, go to disbursements, go to manual refund, do these steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. You can get your refund processed. Obviously, the system has validations built in. It will know exactly how to do it, where to go, so on and so forth. But it helps the user do that as fast as possible. Okay. Similarly, you can do multiple things. You want to change a payment plan. I already show you an action. It can actually tell you, yes, I want to change, update a payment plan. I can click on it. It's going to tell me there are tons of payment plans. Which ones do you want to change into? And it's basically going to guide me through that process to say, what kind of payment plan do you want to? They are on a monthly payment plan. What do you want to go to? You want to go to a 4-pay? You can process it, and the system will automatically work from here. So you guys get the flow in terms of how Copilot works and how we have configured it. Another important thing is system knows the context in terms of where we are working, on what policy it is happening. So system is automatically linking to the core. It's doing a lot of things in the background. So you don't have to go into that specific policy or billing file or a claim file to look at it. The system is keeping track of it and keeping a log. Whatever is done in Copilot is available as a transaction. So So even 10 days later, you go back and see, is there an audit trail? I did a payment plan change. Who actually did that payment plan change? You will know the user and the co-pilot that actually helped you do that function. Okay? Now, I want to do one more use case before I pass it on to Arun. The other use case I want to do is claims. So what happens in claims? I think a use case was presented by Avi saying that in a classic scenario in a claim, what happens is there are multiple documents that comes into a claims office. They obviously have to scan them, then assign them to a specific user. They will see, okay, to which claim does it get assigned to? Then it goes to an adjuster. An adjuster will say, okay, I see this. This is the claim. This is the invoice. Let's associate to this claim. Upload that document, process it or copy that information, put it in a claim file, and then go through the process to submit the claim or get the disbursement out. What we have tried to do here is automate that process using Copilot. And how did we do it? Very simple. All that you need to do is you can take a file, but I'll do one step before that. Let's summarize a claim here. Just an example. It's going to ask me, what do you want to summarize for? Or which claim you want to summarize it for. So let's do that first. It's asking me for a claim number. I'm going to enter a claim number. It's basically going to summarize the entire claim in a matter of seconds. It's going to tell me everything that has happened over the course of their claim process or a claim file since it's open. So it's basically telling me every single thing. It's telling me what's the claim ID, what is the claim status, what was the last date, what is the incident description. In this case, it was Barbara who was driving our 2012 BMW and she crashed Johnson into a vehicle and that's an intersection. This is what happened. Did anybody get injured? Yes. Is there a medical provider who came in? Yes. What was the claim payment done? What have we paid so far? What is the subrogation if there is one? What are the open tasks that are already available? Have you notified anybody? Is there a claim notification? What is the financial summary? This is what an adjuster looks for to know about a claim file before they process the next step. And that's available right here for a user to see. I'm quickly catching up. Now, even if I'm on a call, I'm going to call an agent, I'm going to call an insured, I'm going to call an agent. I don't need to go read through multiple tabs to come to that summary. The summary is here. They see the summary. Now they want to do different things. Obviously, they might say, simple thing is create a, that's it. Now I don't need to go into the claim file to do it. The system will actually create a task for them right here. And it'll actually show up as a task item here. You see these are things that I've done before, but it should create a task here and you should be able to view it. And it'll also ask me, do you want it as an high priority task, a low priority task? What do you want to do? So it's basically guiding me through it. I want to make it an high priority task. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to create a task to call an insured, and it's been done by me. It will come to my inbox. It has to be done on this date. And I can create a task right here. I'm done. Pretty much it's done at this point. Now the use case is carry it forward in a claim use case. There is a bill that has come in. The bills come in from your garage, multiple survey companies, and they have sent me a bill, and I want to process that bill. A good situation could be that it goes into an inbox, it automatically gets processed. But for us to see a demo in a real scenario, I'm going to use the attach and I'm going to upload a file. I've got an invoice. I'm going to attach that invoice and I'm going to upload it. And what it is going to do, if you notice, is similar process to how we saw in intelligent code. It's going to analyze the document. It's going to extract the information, basic steps. And then it's going to tell me, all set. I'm recognizing that it is an invoice bill for a repair, a service from a service provider, moving forward with it. So it basically did the next step. It summarized what it found, and then it's telling me, this is the invoice number, this is the date on which it was issued, these were the services that were provided, that is there in the invoice. It is telling me that there was a repair done for the left rear door, for the electric windows, for the rear bumper. The total service was for about 1385.68. It took the number from the bill. It is telling me when is it due. I'm already overdue, past due. What are the payment terms? What are the additional information which is there in that document that was uploaded? Now it's asking me, do you want me to attach this to this claim? It's already found out that there is a claim number. Do you want me to attach it to it? Yes, I want it to be attached because I want to see what happens next. So I can attach it to a claim. And it's saying an invoice has been added. Now, would you like to view this claim now? And when I say yes, what it does, it actually takes you into that claim file. And I can minimize this, and I can go into the claim. And in this, if I go into the invoices, I can actually go and see this invoice. This just got loaded. We saw the number 10012. And when I actually go in here, it'll give me a side-by-side view of the invoice and the actual system process that it has done. So it is showing me the invoice on the left. This is the invoice that got loaded. That's on the left side, which is the document viewer. On the right, it's actually taken every information from the left, processed it, and it has moved it over. So it's basically telling me what is the invoice number, you want to mark it as an invoice type, what it was, what is the service date, when did it happen, what are the descriptions. So if you look at it here, everything that was in the left has been moved as an invoice line item into the actual claim file. Nobody touched it. I just loaded it now. So think of the amount of time it is saving for a user who actually loads it, translates it, takes a printout, you're saving paper and trees, and then manually sitting and entering it. No fat finger, you're not going to put a wrong number in. It is all done through the system, so the errors have been saved, times have been compressed, so you can do that. And at this point, I can save the invoice. It is saved, it is processed successfully. I want to make a payment. Yes, I can go make a payment right here. It'll actually take me through the claim file, and I can process the next steps right from here. Just to give you an idea of how we can go forward with it. So that's an example in terms of what can be done in terms of a claim process. We used one example. Now this could be for any line of business, for any product. It is basically ability and the engine that it provides to be able to process these documents and work through. Make sense? Now I'm going to switch to Arun to do another claim scenario.
And we'll switch to a more depressing death and hospitalization claims next. Unfortunately, those are the kind of use cases I've over here to show. But let's kind of look at some, I think the idea of what we were planning to do with the, switching between market segments is really the possibility of what we can do with Copilot. And more than just the use case, it is really the kind of things that we can do. So we try to pick up the most complex stages and steps in that process than just like, inquiries and summarization. So here I have like a claim where it's pending for a death certificate for a confirmation before the claim can be settled in process. I'm deliberately kind of opening that claim to show you how that death certificate, which I get an alert straight away that, I need to look at the death certificate. So I'll close that. And I want to see that document. Now, this could be Majesco's document generation system. It could be any DocGen. And we're kind of opening this claim, and we're seeing that it's a handwritten death certificate over here. What I can actually do is that instead, I'm going to just close this. I'm going to open Copilot. And I'm going to just say, let me just type this in here that, can you help me to resolve? So what it's going to do at this point is that it automatically picks up, and by the way, when I kind of clicked on Copilot this time, it automatically picked up the context of the claim since I had that open. So it's automatically picked that. It knows what claim I'm working on. And it's looking through to see, are there any document-related information associated with this claim? Not the actual document, but the information first. Then it picks up and actually goes to the document where the documents are actually stored, picks up the document, summarizes that, and it's giving me the information about the death claim, the dates. It's kind of already organized all this information. And if I want to proceed with this, I just proceed over here. It's going to close the task for me and process the transaction going forward. So when we talk about taking this document, I would have otherwise had the document open on one screen. I would have opened the claim, gone through each of them field by field, and basically validated and make sure that it's okay, whereas I can just see that as a summary over here. So in this case, you're ready to proceed with the claim. I can actually kind of go back to the home screen, and that task where it's basically gone, which would be in the completed one. But let me actually move from the death claim to a more interesting one, which is actually a case of hospitalization. So this one actually is a very involved claim settlement, where we are talking about a claim that's been logged, a claim where there is a whole lot of information about the accident, the person has injuries, And we're going to add stuff like ICD codes, diagnostic codes. We're going to add procedure treatments. We're going to talk about interpreting a physician's report and basically adding the benefit to a claim. So I don't have any background in this, but we're still going to go through it with Copilot's help. Imagine that same scenario with a trained individual, how quickly they're going to be able to settle claims, the amount of accuracy in terms of making sure no code is actually missed out and no situation or scenario is actually missed out for them. So let me pick this over here. I'm going to just say summarize claims. It's going to ask me for a claim number. And now, again, on the left side, this is, again, just a sample that, it straight away opened the claim on the left side as well. So in case you want to also navigate through the application while you're talking with Copilot, remember they're on 2 screens, you can continue to do that. So it's not just the possibility within Copilot, but how it blends with the application and what you can do back and forth that's critical to this whole process.
The blending of Copilot, obviously in a scenario could be that you have Copilot or an AI bot working in a different application, getting data from it and working with it. In that use case, what would happen is you still need to find the connection to it. You still have to train the models, use the data. In this case, what we have done is we have pre-done all that work. And we are in some ways doing deep linking or live linking to it. And that's kind of what we are seeing in every example that we are presenting here.
So what I'm doing next is basically, so it's summarize the claim and just give it information. So we've done nothing crazy at this point, just basic information. I'm going to say summarize benefits associated with hospitalization. So what benefits can I actually give there? So at this point, if you're a claims processing, a claims examiner or an adjudicator, you need to know what the benefits are that are supported as part of the plan, and based on the information available in the claim, what benefits can I actually add to this particular claim? So here, Copilot's giving you this information. You may be trained, you may be adding all these by yourself, but you could add it through Copilot, but you can make sure that Copilot is also validating for you, or if it's completely good, you can just take that and move forward. Now, hospitalization benefits, we can argue that it's a term that Copilot understands, and the benefits usually have words associated with hospitalizations, more of a match and easier to get. But imagine here, like for this particular claim, the individual actually has back injuries. So and actually they do for this one. What I can actually do is just say that which benefits are applicable for back injury. So let me just type that in there. Which benefits? So at this point, it should give me the data based on the interpretation of back injury, compare it with the plan that the individual is enrolled in, based on the plan that the group itself has actually taken. So it's combining all those pieces and saying that, hey, look, these are all the different benefits that you can actually kind of add associated with back injury. So again, I have no idea about what those benefits would be if I just have to look through them, read, and apply it. But here it's done all that interpretation, and it's giving me a list. Again, if you put a trained examiner there, they're going to be able to kind of process things much faster and use this as a checklist. Next, let's kind of ask a question on what's written in the physician statement. So I'm going to just put this part. Again, there is a physician statement that's attached to this claim, so I'm just kind of querying that, and we're going to see what information can that basically bring back. So at this point, again, it's looking at what are the documents on this particular claim, identifying the physician statement, going out to the storage unit, picking up the document and interpreting, and bringing back the physician's report information. So just hold for a second while it summarizes and gives us that information about the physician's report. So again, a bunch of information over here where it's saying what's in the physician statement. It gives the entire text over here. And finally, talking about all these recommendations, supporting documentations, and is there anything else that we would like to do around this document itself? So I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to ask the question about ICD codes that I was talking about. What ICD codes should I add based on this report? So now at this point, I don't really know about the details of ICD codes, but Copilot understands that. It's going to now read the report, understand what are the diagnostics that were the diagnosis on the report, what procedures to treatments, etc., are recommended, and based on that, give all that information. So here, it's basically sharing the information about the CPT codes, where's the ICD codes on this one? Okay, this one's just given me the CPT codes, but it's sharing all the CPT codes, the therapy recommendations, the medical prescriptions, the procedures, all that information in here, and eventually asking, is there any additional thing we want to do with this document? So I don't have anything else to do with this document, so I'm going to say no. And I want to, like, okay, so now it's asking me, do you want to add any benefit? So it's offering to automatically recommend benefits based on the physician statement by itself. So at this point, I can add the benefit, but I'll just say no, and I'll try to put it myself and say that, just put it as ICU. Let's see what it does. I think I should have said like add a benefit, but okay, it's interpreting it as a document over here. So I'm gonna skip that and let me see for the second, I'll just select it. So yeah, I do want to add a benefit and I'm gonna just say, okay, so now it's gonna recommend the benefits that it suggests. I'm gonna just look at some of those benefits and let's try kind of putting in a different benefit in this situation and see how the outcome comes about. So it's again, looking through the report, comparing with plans, comparing with whatever coverage the member has, and basically combining all that together to recommend the benefits that we can add into the mix. Again, taking a little bit of time over here for this particular one, should not take this long. So let me just hope that it gets the data back here. Okay, so there it is. So now it has like the benefits recommended. So now I'll say, no, I don't want to add these benefits. Instead, I'm gonna just type in ICU because I know that this person was actually in the ICU. So I'm gonna just put ICU and see what Copilot does in this situation. So it's gonna try to see anything else. I think that, yeah, it didn't understand this one. So I'm gonna say add benefits. Oh, I said no to the add benefits. I've been refusing the help, which it's been trying to offer, which I keep saying no. So that would help if I actually say that it's a yes. Please specify the benefit to be added. I'm gonna say ICU. This is the point where I'm actually off script, so I'm just still going around with that and seeing what it's doing. So I put in just ICU. It's looked through the options available, and it said that, hey, you know what? You can add the ICU supplemental confinement to this particular one. Based on, again, the physician's report, the date of admission, when the person was discharged, it's automatically kind of filled in the dates for me. And I can just say, submit it. Yep, let's go ahead. And it's going to actually add the benefit to the claim itself. And at this point, I can actually, again, review the benefit by just clicking on this. It would open the benefits page on the claim where, again, I can kind of minimize and see that, okay, look, here it is, the ICU supplemental confinement claim itself. So our goal in this process is really that when you actually put somebody intelligent enough to work with Copilot, the process like actually settling, what is pretty scary in terms of a hospitalization claim, going through diagnosis related to medical terminology, interpreting things like ICD and CPT codes, and then adding it to a claim process is super fast. And it ensures that there is accuracy by making sure that you don't miss out on anything between a trained person and and Copilot. So that's really the goal of that one. What we'll do next, and for the last use case that we have here today, we thought, well, let's kind of take it a little bit more difficult for ourselves. So let's kind of
we do have more use cases, but I think we will see. This is the last planned use case.
So if we have like a little bit of time, we can kind of go into another one. So we said, let's take like a product studio. This is a configuration studio. So far, we were looking at transactions, we were looking at inquiries, we looked at customer service, but how about using configuration engines and product studios to actually kind of take maybe two ways. Like one, you get like from customers, every carrier has like, their own way in which they maintain business rules, validation rules, etc. Can we take that, just upload it, and can it understand and create like, a validation table for me? Or can I actually type that in? Like, somebody from underwriting or claims says that, can you do X, Y, Z? Can I just type that in? Can I add, another entry for that particular rule into wherever that rule needs to go? I don't even know where it needs to go. So that's what we try to do here. So this is the view of our product studio, where again, I'm going to click on the Copilot. So let me make this a little bit bigger here. And I'm going to say, like, I want to add a validation. So it's asking, what area are you trying to add this validation in? So from a business perspective, I know that I'm doing a plan-based validation, and I want to add like plan limits. So we looked at the first one about quotes. So how can I put some limits over there? And now what it's saying is, okay, do you have an Excel? So at this point, this is the Excel that I have. It's reasonably simple at this point, which talks about different benefits, which talks about min and max, and I want to have like the increments and an error message all defined in here. So I don't know where to go in that product studio, which rule or which table I should go pick up and put this rule in there. And I don't need to know that. So what I'm gonna just do is I'm just gonna like attach that Excel, and we'll let Copilot figure that out and see how can it give me this information. Now, one way is that Copilot just takes the Excel, puts it back into a configuration table, and then you have to figure out what did it exactly do.
To map it.
So what we try to do here is first it gives you a summary of this is what I have interpreted of the Excel that you have shared with us. So it could be any format, no format, nothing related to what Majesco does. In your business language, as long as it can understand that, it takes that Excel, it's going to try to interpret that, it is generating the configurations in our product studio, and it is going to allow us to actually preview that side by side with the rule as it exists today. So once it gets done, it's going to show up over here, so it's ready for review. So let's open that up. And what it's going to do is pull up the screen. So I'll just hide Copilot for a second. So it's showing this side by side. So this is the rule that exists right now. And I can, unfortunately, there's a bit of scroll here. So you have like all these rows, with the different ones, the grouping, the benefit attribute, the benefit amount, and so on. And if I go to the right, and I'll just again make this bigger so you can see that, these were the 4 rows that it has added related to the different benefits for AD&D coverage, the minimums, the increments, and so on. Again, let me scroll down and go here. So it says like what's the min value, the max value, the increments, everything that we put in there is added here automatically. So I can now decide that, okay, you know what, this looks good, and I want to actually merge this into the common table, and it does all that merging for me automatically. Once that is done, let me pull back Copilot, and I want to now add something that is more textually driven, not like a file upload. So I'm going to type something in and see if Copilot can add another row. I just missed out on one row, which I get a call and say that, hey, add this one more row into this list. So I can actually go in there and say that, okay, for the accelerated, and this one I have to just look at what it is.
This is a scenario where you need to exactly know what you're trying to add, but you don't need to go in and add. You can still type it. That means it's a conversational, and the system will still make that addition. That's kind of what Arun is doing here. And this is all product configuration, right? So we're looking at a product studio, just reinforcing it.
So what I'm writing is like for the accelerated benefit, the min and max benefit value should be between 1,000 and 10,000 and increments of 1,000. So just picking a value that wasn't there in the Excel, and I'm going to put that in there. So what it's going to now pick up is, it's going to, did it ask for an error message, or is it generating?
It's generating sample.
Okay, it did not give me what I was looking for. So I'll kind of skip on that. But basically what it does at this point is it should give me an option for asking the same thing, that it generates the configuration and asks me to put that in there. So we're kind of trying to take a lot of these things, real life stuff, no demo stuff over here. So we're actually picking that, it generates and adds a row automatically to the product studio over there. So those were some of the planned use cases that we had. One use case that I want to kind of show, and which we can go in next, is what if we want to kind of take in a PDF again, like of a claim intake form, and just generate a whole claim based on that. So we're kind of, if I just do a new here, I'm going to try to just upload, like I'm literally with absolutely no context. I'm going to go in here and I'm picking up an HI claim. This is a PDF, and I can pull up the PDF and show what's in that. So this is just a hospital indemnity claim form, and it can basically kind of pick up the information. And now it's going to process that entire thing. What it's going to do behind the scenes is actually pretty cool. Like that, it actually picks up the data from the claim form. It identifies who the member is. It identifies the group that the member belongs to. It identifies the coverage of the member, makes all those connections. And I think in between, it's going to ask me, okay, what's it saying? Would you like to begin the claim intake process? Oh, first it's like summarizing and giving me the information to make sure that it is right with what it's doing. And I say, yes, go ahead and start the intake process. It's picking up all that data. It's going to, in between, also confirm that the group that it has identified is actually accurate. So at least if it does its work correctly here, it has to ask me that question. So let's see how that goes in. But it's going to do all that work in there. And once it's done, it'll open the claim form on the other side, and you can actually confirm that everything is good, and you're done with the intake process. And as it goes along, you can see that it's actually telling us what it is doing. It says identified an employer. Yep, I'm going to confirm that that is the employer, and this is a hospital indemnity claim. Now it's going forward. Again, based on that, it's identifying. It's saying that it has identified both member and the group, and the claim creation process is now beginning. But while it does that, I think the idea of what we wanted to do today was start right from the new business, from quotes, and how we kind of service the customers, go into even complex requotes in the group space, go through the entire customer servicing and ongoing servicing piece, bill reconciliations and other transactions.
Perform a function.
And then get into the complex world of claims, whether it is auto claims, whether it is medical claims, or doing stuff which are handwritten documents, and eventually end with configuration. So the idea really is that all the options are on the table. And at this point, we're really kind of working with partners with new AI models that are coming out there, tapping into everything, bringing all the intelligence into one place, and really kind of change the game in here. So that's really the goal of what we're trying to do. All right, unfortunately, it's not letting me end with a bang over here with an error, but do you want to switch over here?
Yeah, so I think this is the summary. I think if you look at it on all the use cases that we did, we're able to see the savings that our customers and our end users have actually seen. I'm bringing back the slide. We didn't do some basic ones. We didn't do a way of how you can precisely write a letter to an agent, how you can write a note, a long note, a short note, a concise note. We didn't do all those because those are basic use cases. You can do that now in your Outlook. You can do that now in your chat, in your Teams message, and so on. So we skipped those. Those are available as well. And then similarly, multiple tasks like how you cancel a policy, how you reinstate a policy, how you can put it on under notice or put it on hold. Multiple use cases that are standard basic ones that might take hours and minutes for a user to do and to get trained, days and months to get trained. Those have been automated. The end goal being, can we save time for them? Can we give efficiency to an end user? So that's our goal, and that is how it has been thought through in terms of use cases. And how we are building these use cases, these are not just our brain, what me and Arun think or Manish thinks and our team thinks. We are collaborating with our customers. We are asking them, where do you spend the maximum time? One use case was invoice was one big example that we got. Medical bills that's coming in, can you help process it? Summarizing, doing quick actions. These are use cases that we have heard from our customer through our idea council. We have taken those use cases, and that is what we are working on because we want to see the real value. It is not just building use cases just for us to show it in these conversations. So that's the approach that we have followed. So thank you so much.